Hey, my name is Arthur Robinson Jr. I am the creator and host of PowerfulInterviews.com. I am a partner of NationalDiversified.com. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this phenomenal video. In this interview, you're going to experience life-changing information that you will not find anywhere else. I have secured an incredible interview with a great friend of mine, successful businessman, the multi-millionaire. His name is Dan Lok. Dan Lok basically is from Hong Kong, and him and his mother emigrated over to Vancouver, Canada with a little bit of money. And Dan Lok, in this exclusive interview, he talks about his humble beginnings to where he is today. Dan Lok was in a phenomenal business magazine book, which is called Jet Set. And that is a concierge magazine for successful entrepreneurs. And Sir Richard Branson, the billionaire, the owner of Virgin Records, was actually in that phenomenal magazine. In this exclusive interview, Dan Lok, he talks about how he built 22 successful businesses, and they generate over $25 million a year. Also in this exclusive interview, Dan Lok, he breaks down layman's terms about every entrepreneur goes through 4 stages in life. And he talks about how every entrepreneur goes through a survival mechanism. Also in this interview, Dan Lok, he breaks down layman's terms about how he is an acclaimed TEDx speaker, and he talks about his best-selling international book, which is called FU Money. And in FU Money, Dan Lok, he breaks down specific strategies on how you can generate $10,000 a month all the way up to $500,000 a month or $500,000 a year. Also in this exclusive interview, Dan Lok, he breaks down layman's terms about how successful entrepreneurs and business owners, they need to develop a wealth mindset and much, much more. So remember, this is not BS information. The right information will change your current situation. Wealthy people, they take advice from other wealthy people, and unfortunately, broke people, they take advice from broke people. So right about now, go get your pen and your pad, sit back and relax, and write down some notes and implement the information you're going to learn in this exclusive interview. In this interview that I'm going to reveal to each and every one of you with my great friend, the multi-millionaire, serial entrepreneur. His name is Dan Lok. This interview, it will change your entire life. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on. That way you be well informed when I publish more outside the box audio interviews. So check it out.
Without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the powerful Dan Lok to the show.
Also, love the energy. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Dan, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the listeners worldwide about building wealth on the internet. I gladly appreciate it.
No problem. And it's interesting, as I'm doing this interview, I just moved to a new home, a 4,300 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and I'm on my in my living room looking over the waterfront view and doing the interview. Life is good.
Wow. To everyone that's listening on this show, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Dan Lok is going to break down layman's terms about how to build wealth online as well as offline. Is that correct, Dan?
That's correct.
Now, what I'd like to know, and can you explain to the listeners in layman's terms, who is the phenomenal Dan Lok? How long you been in your powerful industry, and what is your expertise?
I would say, let me maybe give your listener a little bit about my background. I immigrated to North America when I was 14 years old and was a teenager, and my mom and dad got divorced when I was 16 years old. And as the only child in my family, growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a whole lot of directions, and I wasn't, very driven and motivated. I was kind of lost and confused. It's only when my mom and dad got divorced, and as the only child in my family, that I had to man up and grow up and take care of my family. And in the beginning, my dad was sending us a little bit of allowance and money, and that was okay. And then, unfortunately, my dad went bankrupt in Hong Kong. So then I thought, oh my God, what should I do? And I wasn't particularly a good student. So for sure, if lawyer, accountant, and doctor, that's out, because I'm not very academic, not very smart academically, and I'm not particularly tall or fast. So athletic, that's out. And so I thought the only thing I could do to make a living is to be an entrepreneur. So I started my first business when I was in high school, just mowing lawns for our people in our neighborhood with a couple of my buddies, and that's my first business. And then we tried a lot of different things, like most people. I tried vending machine, I tried network marketing, and then I tried fixing computers for people, and just jumping from one idea to another, but never experienced success. Was making maybe a little bit of money and then lose some money and make a tiny little bit of money. And I failed. Also, I failed at 13 businesses before having my first success. And until then, until I found a mentor. Now, that may not be the answer for everybody, but that was the answer for me. I was reading a lot of books. I was going to a lot of seminars and motivation seminars and different workshops, and I learned different things from it, but it didn't help me enough. So until I found my mentor. And my first mentor, his name is Alan. So when I met Alan, he runs a very successful financial seminar company in Canada called Business Breakthrough Technologies. And he is the first person to bring, Robert Kiyosaki?
Yes.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, the author, and he was the first guy that brought Robert Kiyosaki to Canada.
Wow.
Before he was even famous, like before the worldwide fame. And he brought in a lot of different speakers, and he was conducting a lot of these different trainings and workshops and educational sessions. And I was working under him, kind of with him for 1 year, for next to nothing, basically a volunteer. I would help him, stuff envelopes and clean the office and take stuff to the postal office, and we were doing a lot of direct mail back then. And I always refer that year also as the $1 million year of my life. Because I got $1 million worth of education in that 1 year. Alan taught me marketing and human psychology and performance and copywriting, meaning how do you write words that compel people to take action. And after 1 year of kind of under his as an apprentice, under his mentorship, then I started my own, you could say, one-man advertising agency from home. And from there, I in my early 20s, I was making about $10,000 a month at home as a copywriter. Now, that may not be a lot of money for some people, but to me, as an early 20-something years old teenager, that's a lot of money as a young guy.
You were making $120,000 a year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that felt like $1 million bucks. And I was so happy. I was taking care of my mom. I was paying off some debt, all the debt I accumulated through my business losses, and it was good. And then from there, I went on to the internet. You could say it's a little bit of timing. And I went on the internet using my copywriting skill. And I was involved, and I was buying stuff from, Hong Kong, and I was selling them on eBay. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, so I was selling Bruce Lee collectibles and things like that. And then I got into affiliate marketing. And when I got into affiliate marketing, also I was making a ridiculous amount of money. Ridiculous amount of money. And money was coming in so fast. I've never seen so much money in my life. And, I remember there was times that some friends and me, they go out for a night and go out for a drink. And we would blow like $3,000 on a night. And I don't even fucking drink. I don't drink. And I was doing like stupid shit. I was buying a new car every year. It was just dumb. I was doing a lot of dumb stuff. I was making a lot of money very fast, and I was blowing them very fast. And until then, I found out this is something that's wrong here. That how come, quote unquote, from other people's perspective, that Dan has made it, but deep down something was missing. That I felt empty. I felt, how come I'm not so happy? How come, in fact, I felt miserable. What was this about? I thought I worked so hard for this, and I gave up so much for this, and sacrificed, and I worked, and I quote unquote, I got it. Then what is missing? And that's when I learned in life you actually go through different stages. I believe there are 4 stages in life. The first stage is what I call survival. Just survival, paying the bills. So we have a shelter. You have enough food on the table that you can feed yourself. And then in life we go from survival to security, that you have more than enough, that you're comfortable. You have a house, you have a car, you're taking your family. That's security. Then from security to success. And success is now you've made it. That it's still about yourself, but you've made it, and you can pretty much, you're traveling, you can buy the things that you want, you can help a charity that you want. Then from success to significance. So in life we go from survival to security to success, and success to significance. And at the time I believe I've accomplished success, but not significance. At the time for Dan Lok, it was still about keeping it for myself. Was about achieving. It was about making money. It was about making money as much as you could. It's about it's not about fulfillment. It's all achievement. And that's when I've learned that when am I the happiest? I found that I'm the happiest when I hang around with entrepreneurs. I found that I'm the happiest when I'm teaching. And so I thought, when I hit 30, and that's, a few years ago, when I hit 30 years old, I made a decision to say, I'm going to do something about that. And that's when I set out to have the mission to impact entrepreneurs worldwide, that I would do things. I would start some passion projects. I would start mentoring other people to help them to achieve maybe what are some of the things I've achieved in my lifetime, and hopefully help them avoid some of the mistakes I've made.
Now, you became a millionaire at the age of 27. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you?
And I don't mean 27. Like I don't mean a millionaire, probably a millionaire in net worth. I mean cash. Because there's a big difference. You're like, I'm a millionaire. I mean, in Vancouver, you own a house, you're a millionaire. It's not that big of a deal. But I mean, $1 million in cash plus a lot of revenue streams coming in at the time, 27 years old.
Dan, explain to the listeners, what is the best advice that you have ever received?
It would be not so much advice I received, but I came up with. That over the years, what I've learned, I get a lot of young guys, sometimes email me that, Dan, how can I do what you do? How can I be like you? How can I become financially successful? And what I notice also is a lot of them make the mistakes. They say, Dan, I want to start this business. I want to do this and I want to do that. And I share a very simple idea, a philosophy with them that completely transforms their life. It's very, very simple. It's what I call the wealth triangle. The wealth triangle. Now, also, if you can imagine a triangle, and there are 3 parts to it, there are 3 corners, okay? The first part, the first stage, is what I call, imagine that's the left side of the triangle, left bottom side. It's what I call high income skills. Now, how I define high income skills is a skill set that has the potential to make you more than $100,000 a year. Or you could say $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month, high income skill. I believe that's what everybody should focus on at the first phase towards financial success. Then once they have developed that high income skill, now when you have the high income skill, yes, you are still trading hours for dollars, but you're trading hours for high dollars. Okay, at that stage, it's you making your money. You are turning your expertise, your passion, your knowledge, your hard work, your effort into money, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then second stage is what I call scalable business. At the top part of the triangle, scalable business. Now, how I define scalable business is a business that you could scale without a whole lot of expense or overhead or infrastructure, i.e. an internet business, an e-commerce business, a software business. So let's say if it's a restaurant, then it wouldn't fall into that category. It's not very scalable because every time you open up a second location, you need to invest a lot of money and time and resources to open a second location. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So a scalable business, that's the second stage. And then the third stage is what I call high return investments. How I define high return investment is this. It's any investments that would produce at least a minimum of 10% return per year, year in and year out. Year in and year out. So every year, minimum of 10%. So what's very interesting about this framework is this, that your high income skills gives you the cash. It provides you with the comfort. Okay. Now you're paying the bills. Wouldn't you agree, Arthur? If you're making $10,000 a month, for most people, they're pretty comfortable.
That's true.
And unless they buy stupid things or they blow the money, but for most people, the life is pretty good. They're paying the bills. They're comfortable, right?
That's right.
Now, once you have that peace of mind, and then when you start a scalable business, that provides you with what I call cash flow. Cash flow. You take that extra cash flow from your business, then you put into return your investments, a high return investment, that builds your net worth. You see how that works? Cash flow, and it builds your net worth, and it becomes a very powerful cycle. Now, here's the mistake most people make. You must have seen this a lot. That a guy say, you know what, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I want to quit, I'm going to start my own business, right?
I experience that all the time.
Okay, and that's how people fuck up. Here's why. Because when they start that business, the worst time to start a business, Arthur, is when you're desperate. When you have to make money like today. Because that's when you make stupid decisions. Emotional decision. Not based on logic, but based on emotion. Okay? And then when you're coming from that place, because you have to pay the bills. But business takes time to grow. What if you don't make money in the first 6 months? What if you don't make money in the first year? You talk to any successful entrepreneurs, sometimes it takes years for a business to be profitable. Then what do? And that's why 95% of small businesses fail, because they don't get it. You have no business acumen. But on the other hand, if you develop your high income skill first, when you're making $10,000 a month, here's what it tells me about you. Someone is making $10,000 a month, probably, I'm assuming, but probably they have pretty good work ethics. And they probably are pretty good with people. And they're also probably adding value to the marketplace. Wouldn't you agree? Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting $10,000 a month. So now you have a good foundation. It tells me, you know what, you have a lot of the good qualities of an entrepreneur. You've already developed some of that natural quality, maybe the ability to convince, to sell, to persuade. And then from there, you start your business. You're coming from a different place. You've got some money in the bank. You're paying the bills. You've got the $10,000 coming in. Starting that business, now you can succeed. And from there, you're not invest. Again, let me give you an example. Some people, they watch an infomercial. They now say, oh, you know what? Oh, they read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I want to buy real estate. They jump into real estate as an employee, making $2,000-3,000 a month, and they're going to buy a property. Nothing down. People ask me all the time, Dan, how can I buy, nothing down property? I always tell them, don't. Because if you need to buy nothing down property, it means you have no money, don't. Because what if 1 month you can't find a tenant? You're screwed.
That's true.
You're screwed. I know a couple of friends who is making not a lot of money, leverage the credit card, max out his credit, borrow money from this and that because he thought, buy real estate, that's the way to go. Well, 3 properties, within 1 year, all 3 got foreclosed. Because he doesn't have the other part of the triangle. Rich people, millionaires, we are entrepreneurs who invest. You got to build that business first and use the cash from the business. You've got so much cash coming from the business, then you take that and you build your net worth. Because investments, that 10%, it builds your net worth, but it's not a ton of cash flow from it. You can't eat net worth. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So now when someone listens to this, anyone listening to the show, you will know what you should focus on. Let me give you one example. It's like also people who are involved with the home-based business, maybe network marketing, okay? Mm-hmm. And then that's, they think it's a scalable business, isn't it? It is absolutely a scalable business. But they jump into network marketing with a high-income skill. And that's why so many of them fail. They're trying to operate a business with an employee mentality. They have it's like, you know what, I've been working in this job, maybe even a government job, for a long time, and now I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Well, you're not entrepreneurial at all. You have to earn the right. So you have to go from, if you go back to the 4 stages of life, survival to security, that's high-income skill. From security to success, that's scalable business and high-return investments. Okay? Those are the stages. You got to go through that. You will get there, but if you try to jump into high-return investments or just jump into the scalable business, it doesn't work. Because we are so programmed, so conditioned to watch the media or so-and-so entrepreneur. Oh, he started this business from scratch, from his basement, and he made it big. And, well, you see one of those stories, but you don't see the 10,000 that died.
That's true.
Okay, so you look at that, it's like, I could do that. Well, instead of doing that, why don't we bet on something that has higher probability of success and kind of protect ourselves from the downside? Let's work on the high-income skill. Let's work on Arthur, throughout the year, and thank you for the great introduction, but I've had a lot of ups and downs. Even though I've made it, I blew my money, was doing stupid things and made bad investments. I've made millions, I've lost millions. So I've had the ups and downs, but here's the thing. Over the years, even though my business, some years, phenomenal years, some year, not so good, because that's business. There's ups and downs. This is something nobody talks about. Everybody's, business is always good. Talk to any entrepreneur, I don't care who they are, there's ups and downs. But when times are tough, I can always fall back on my high-income skills. I can always count on me, Dan Lok, making me money. Meaning, I have multiple high-income skills over the years I've developed, such as, like you mentioned, consulting, such as public speaking, such as being a marketing consultant, right? So I have different skills I could fall back on. And those skills, every one of those skill set, not a single year since in my early 20s, I've made less than 6 figure from those skills.
Wow.
Not a single year. So I've never made, like as a coach, I've never made less than 6 figure. As a consultant, I've never made less than 6 figure. As a speaker, I've never made less than 6 figure. In some years, 7 figure. So you think in terms of those things, my skills. So people get into the concept, I want passive income. I want residual income overnight. Well, here's something that people don't address. Just because it's passive doesn't mean it's easy. Just people associate, it's passive. Just because it's passive doesn't mean it's effortless. If anything, it takes more time, it takes more effort to create passive income. What I want to aim for is earn income, high earn income, so then you have that base, and you take that money. Then also now you have the luxury of time. You have time working for it. Then you can take that, and you can now create the residual income, the passive income. Then people got it all wrong.
You said focus on high-income skills. So sales is the avenue to more revenue?
Yes. So it could be sales. In my case, think back then in early 20s, my first high-income skill was copywriting. I was making $10,000 a month, early 20s as a copywriter. Then it's marketing. Then it's internet marketing. Then it's consulting. It's affiliate marketing. And I just keep developing those skill sets. And at the end of the day, it's your skill sets and your mindset that makes all the difference.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
Now, Dan, I've seen your phenomenal videos online, and you have a compelling story, and you mesmerize audiences when you speak. When you speak, they listen. Now, I know the seven-figure earner, basically they have to develop the mindset on how they can actually grow their business for scalability and high growth mode. And I have entrepreneurs and business owners that are in the process of pursuing a speaking career. Now, I know that the speaking industry is a $780 billion industry, so it's huge right now.
Correct.
Can you explain to the listeners, should they speak for free when they are in the process of being a professional speaker, or should they charge a public speaking fee speaking on other people's platforms starting out as a professional speaker?
That's a wonderful question. Now, it's very, very simple. Actually, let me share a story with you, because this will make more sense. So how I got into speaking was kind of by accident, because at the time, English is my second language, and so you can still hear from my accent. And I didn't have a whole lot of confidence, and I actually had, believe it or not, now you watch my videos, but I had actually a phobia for public speaking. And I wanted to overcome that at the time, because I know that would hold me back in business. So I joined Toastmasters. You're probably familiar with Toastmasters.
That's true.
And I joined Toastmasters, and with the intention of just improving my confidence in English. And after I joined Toastmasters, and I was doing that's how I do things. I just throw myself into it and immerse myself into it. So I was doing about a speech, one speech a week. And after about a year of that, and suddenly people are, if you're familiar with Toastmasters, you know how people would fill out those feedback form. And they would give you feedback on how you can improve. And after a year of speaking, and people were writing down, oh, amazing, fantastic, you are natural. I said, me as a natural? Nothing natural about this. I'm putting a lot of effort. And from there, I thought to myself, and I was so inspired by all the great speakers, Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Brian Tracy, all the big names, and all the motivational speakers. I was so inspired by them. And I thought, what if someday I could do that? What if someday I could be on stage and empower and inspire and educate people? Wouldn't that be awesome? And I remember, and I remember a conversation I had with my mom, and at the time she was in the kitchen. I told her, Mom, someday I'm going to be a professional speaker. And my mom was washing the dishes and looked at me, and she was washing the dishes and said, go do your homework. And so to her, because you got to imagine this, Arthur. I'm a Chinese. You don't see a lot of Chinese speaker in the mainstream.
That's true.
I'm probably, I won't say I'm the only one, but I'm close to the only one who you could quote unquote say you made it on the mainstream. Mainstream meaning you're speaking to thousands of people, right? And getting paid. How to define a professional speaker? Well, a professional speaker gets paid to speak. It's very, very simple. So then I went to, at the time, so when I had this goal, same thing. I went to other people who have done it, who have made it in the speaking industry. And I went to them and said, how do you do it? How do I get paid as a speaker? How do I turn it into a profession? And they all say the same thing to me. Well, Dan, what you got to do is you got to pay the dues. You kind of have to do a lot of free speaking gigs. And you do it for, number of years. You build a portfolio, and you just first speak to a small audience. And after about 10 years of that, and then now you can start charging a little bit of money, maybe $1,000, $2,000 speaking gig, and then do a little bit more speaking gig. And from there, after a decade, then you could be making a good living. When I heard that plan, I'm like, that sucks. That's not a very good plan. I said, thank you very much. And then I went into a different path. Then here's what I found out. There are two types of speakers. First is what I call the keynote speaker. So you're speaking for a fee. Okay, speaking for a fee, meaning you get paid $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to show up and speak. You look at celebrities, politicians, best-selling authors, those type of people. Okay, and then I found out that maybe, you know what, I'm not famous. I mean, why would someone pay me any amount of money to speak? So that doesn't work. But then I found there's another world. It's a platform sales speaker. So you have speaking for fee and you're speaking for free. But as a platform sales speaker, you're speaking for free. But at the end of your presentation or speech, you can make an offer. You can offer your products and services as a back end. And I chose that path instead, because that path I can bypass the years of credibility. I could just, because at the time I was already doing internet marketing and I was already teaching it. And I thought, well, maybe I could teach internet marketing. I could create a program and I could offer that. So from there, instead of getting a fee to speak, I was traveling North America. I was teaching internet marketing. And and at the end of my presentation, if people like it, there's continuing education, and they could say they could purchase my program. And at first it was $4,000, and later on for $2,000. And I would go into a room with a couple hundred people, and I would make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of sales. Now that didn't take long. Within a year, I was making very, very good money as a speaker. And that's the path that I chose. And then later on, then, also, with the books and everything, now it's a little bit of both. I get paid to speak, but from time to time I would also speak as a platform sales speaker. There I speak and I offer my program as a back end. And then tomorrow, I also shared with you earlier in the interview, before the interview, that I'm speaking at TEDx, at a TEDx event, TEDx Stanley Park in Vancouver.
Wow.
In front of 2,500 people. But also I didn't get here overnight. I've been doing this for almost a decade now. And that's it's also one of my dreams, and I accomplish it. And so you conduct the interview at the right time, because there are a lot of these great things that are happening. In fact, there's a lesson here. Let me share one more thing with you. I believe in life that there will be moments in your life, there will be years in your life where you're in the zone, you are in the kind of acceleration mode. That meaning, I call that a phenomenon. That within that 1 year, you have more opportunities, you have more success, you have more things coming your way. You are basically that. You have more things going on. You're making more money in that 1 year than any other, maybe even in like 1 year compared to the last 10 years. And that's like this year I'm experiencing that. That so many incredible things are happening. TEDx is one of them, and I moved to a new home. That's great. I'm also talking about doing a TV show, a reality business show. So a lot of incredible things are happening, and so but I'm experiencing that. But in your career, there will be some years you're working hard and you don't see a lot of result, and you're working hard, you don't see a lot of result. But that 1 year, you'll be like, holy shit. Like, what's going on? People showed up, opportunities show up, resources show up, contacts show up. It's just out of nowhere. All these things are happening. My recommendation is you just ride with it, and you put your head down and you take advantage of all of them. And just go crazy with that 1 year. That's your focus year. Because you'll make more in that 1 year than maybe in the previous 10 years combined.
This is an incredible interview, and I appreciate you coming on my show today, Dan.
No problem.
Dan, can you explain to the listeners from your own experience, what do millionaires and billionaires do on a consistent, regular basis that unfortunately broke entrepreneurs just don't do?
I think there are a lot of different habits, and there are a lot of books out there already talk about this, like Think and Grow Rich, by Napoleon Hill. There's so much work out there that you could study. If I have to kind of sum it up, I would probably say we are good students, that we are good learners, that we're lifelong learners, that we have a habit of learning. Even I have a library in my home with over 2,000 books. I still read about 2 to 3 books a week. When I'm driving, I'm listening to an interview. I'm listening to a podcast. And myself, my show, Shoulders of Titans podcast, I conduct 1 interview per week, as you know. And so I think learning, it's key. There's a saying, the more you learn, the more you earn.
That's true. That's what Warren Buffett said.
Yeah, and it's very, very true. And I think as a millionaire, I go into, put it this way, Arthur, I'm always shocked. People don't go very deep with things. There's no depth. Here's what I mean. Let me give you an example. Let's say when I go into an industry, by the way, in the beginning of the introduction you were talking about, actually I own now a group of companies, 21 companies in total.
Wow.
And we do over 20 million, not 10, a year now. So with how I go into an industry that maybe I'm not familiar with, maybe it's a new industry for me, what I do is I go into a intense information gathering mode. Meaning, when I go into an industry that I'm not familiar with, I learned. I read every single thing I could, every single publication. I go to the trade show. I talk with dozens and hundreds of people in that industry. I learned the industry inside and out within a very, very short period of time, maybe 3 to 6 months. And I just find that nobody does it. I talk to people who have been in the same industry for 3, 5, 10 years. I'm like, how could you not know this? They just don't. They don't learn. Versus me, I'm reading everything I could. I'm talking to everybody I could. I'm reading the website. I'm doing research. I just go deep. And most people don't go very deep. And they don't think about their problems very deeply.
So you immerse yourself in learning.
Yeah, they just don't think. It's like, Dan, it's like, sometimes people ask me the question, what's the one book that you would recommend? And I always say, you read all of them.
That's true.
You don't read, because, one book, you're not going to find all your answers in one book. You might find a little glimpse, like one golden nugget here, a couple good ideas from there, but not one book. Not like you and I know. Here's a guarantee. If you read 10 books, you'll be smarter compared to if you just read one. If you read 100 books, you'll be smarter compared to if you just read 10. It's very simple. And that's why people, as you know, most people don't even read a book a year. They don't. It's there. It's like there's so many. You can go to the library. You can buy online or Kindle. It's not a lot of money. All the information is out there, but people just don't. It boils down to this: they just don't want it that bad. They don't want it that bad. They say, I want success. I want to be successful. I want to be a millionaire. No, you don't. You don't. It's like, I want to have that six-pack ab. No, you don't. If you're sitting there and you're eating chips and drinking soda. So it all I would say it boils down to learning. That we are very, very committed and serious students.
Now, Dan, when you speaking on other people's platforms, should professional speakers, they basically create a high-tier product and a low-tier product. So when you get off the stage and the people that's in the audience rush your product table, do you give the audience any type of choices so you can avoid cafeteria selling?
That's a good question also. I would, from my experience, I personally don't like selling low-ticket item. My whole life I'm known, and my reputation is I sell expensive programs. I don't like to sell cheap programs, and here's why. Because if you give them a choice, let's say you have a $1,000, let's say $2,000 program and a $200 program, you and I know you can't really deliver a lot of value through a $200 program. I mean, if you sell a $200 program, you pay half to the promoter, you're making $100. Well, how much value could you put in $100? You can't. That's one problem. Second problem is, as a promoter, as a seminar promoter, do you want your speakers to pay you $1,000 in commission or $100 in commission?
$1,000.
Yeah, which speaker you want to put in? If that speaker could close, which speaker would you want to put in that prime spot, right?
That's
prime time. Right. It's no brainer. And what I've learned is, in an audience, a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Meaning this, let's say a good closing percentage for a platform sales speaker, let's say it's 10%. I've done this in the beginning of my career, 1%, and then 2%, 10%. I've done as much as 35%. And only a percentage of the audience will buy what you offer. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good your offer is. Let's say it's 10%. If you offer them a $2,000 product versus a $200 product, if you offer at $200, it's still that 10% would buy. Only. That's it. Maybe it's 12%. But you're not going to get 10 times more people buying your product if you lower it by, missing a zero. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
So if it's still at 10%, do you want to sell at $2,000 or do you want to sell at $200?
I'd rather sell at $2,000.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's the same group of buyers. And if that's the case, and don't you also, it's not just, and here's the thing I want to address. It's not just because, then it's just, are we being greedy? Are we not serving people? No. Understand this. Nobody goes to a workshop for nothing. Anybody who attends an event and a seminar and a workshop because they want a change. Wouldn't you agree?
That's absolutely correct.
They're looking for an answer. They're looking for someone to help them, yes?
Yes.
And if that's the case, as a buyer, as a student, who is more committed? Someone who invests $200 in themselves or $2,000 in themselves?
$2,000.
You'll get a better student out of it. They're more if they're, I spend a couple $100, I take this home, self-help becomes shelf-help, put the stuff on my shelf and collect stuff. I don't use it. It's $200. So what's the big deal? But if you invest $2,000, now you're like, okay, I gotta make this work. I gotta recoup my investment here. I gotta find the value here somewhere. You're much more serious as a student. Therefore, you get better results.
What inspired you to write your phenomenal book, F.U. Money?
I wrote that book about 5 years ago, and at the time I was, you can say quote unquote, I made it. The funny thing is, almost right after I wrote that book, I almost basically went into a semi-retired mode for a number of months. And when I wrote that book, I was younger, and I was kind of just want to share, hey, you know what, it's more, again, going from, I would say, success. It's still at success stage, not significance. But it's more to show the world, here's what I know, here's my story, and here's how smart I am. But I think looking back, it's not the right thing to do, believe it or not. That today, because I wrote that 5 years ago, compared to today, you could see, you read that book, author, and you can see now we have this conversation. I've evolved, I've changed quite a bit since I wrote the book. I was more arrogant. I was more self-centered when I wrote the book. But now, this new Dan Lok, it's happier, it's softer, I would say, and it's a better person, I would say. So I wrote that book. It's still a great book. It's still, I have a lot of my philosophies I still believe in that book, but I've changed quite a bit since that book. But what inspired me to write that book is really just to share my message, share my story with the world. And here's how I've done it. Here's my philosophies. And I was a bit sick and tired of other quote-unquote success books from other people, which I think a lot of them is crap, right? And I talk about in the first chapter. There are a lot of these so-called prosperity gurus or success gurus or this and that, and they actually don't have a lot of success. In fact, if I could leave you with one thing, it's always to consider the source of who you're learning from. Learning from Warren Buffett, fantastic. Learn from Steve Jobs, read his stuff. All these great people. But other people, consider the source. Have they done it? In other words, do they make their money selling the stuff, or do they make their money doing the stuff that they teach? And that's a big. If you have that filter, you probably eliminate 90% or more of the people that you learn from.
So would you say that your books are your business cards?
Oh, absolutely. I always say that your book is the ultimate business card. That's why I have 12 of them. I don't have a business card. Everywhere I go, I give away books. I give away probably 4,000 books a year.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
Now, you wrote another phenomenal book called Millionaire Dollar Realtors. Can you explain to the listeners what was your thought process when you wrote that phenomenal book?
Yes, because that book is it's part of the new venture I'm launching called $1 Million Agents Club, which is an online platform that provides education and training to real estate agents across North America. And that book, we wrote that book, and basically it would be probably as a business card, but also as part of a marketing program, as a lead generation tool that will be giving away the books to agents. And for those who want to learn more about our program, then they can upgrade to our online platform, $1 Million Agents Club. So it's strictly as a value-added tool, but also as a marketing tool. Very, very powerful. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that powerful word, marketing. Can you explain to the listeners, Dan, what is your definition of marketing, and what does marketing mean to you?
Marketing is very simple. It's anything and everything that you do to attract and keep a client. I'll say it again. And marketing is anything and everything that you do to attract and keep a client or customer. That's it. And the purpose of marketing is to sell more stuff to more people more often for more money. I'll say that again. The purpose of marketing is not to get your name out there, not to just, let me get my name out there, brand awareness. No. Marketing, the only purpose of marketing is to sell more stuff to more people more often for more money.
So would you say that marketing done right is the quickest path to the sale?
Absolutely. Put it this way. People get confused with sales and marketing. Sales is sales. Sales is what you do on the phone. Sales is what you do one-on-one. It's where you usually, how do you know you're doing sales? You're probably, flapping your lips. You're doing sales. It's a lot of convincing. Marketing, on the other hand, is attraction. It's filter. Is putting them through a process. So if your marketing is done right, I believe, selling becomes effortless. If you're doing cold calling, if you're doing door knocking, that's selling. That's hard. That's interrupting people. That's try to convince, try to twist their arm, try to pressure them to buy. Yes. And usually people nowadays people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. Okay, they love to buy. So I think marketing and sales they have to be integrated. It's not one or the other. Is the more powerful your marketing, the easier it is to sell. The weaker your marketing, then the harder you have to quote unquote close the sale. I'm in my whole life I'm all about positioning and marketing. So then the selling becomes effortless. By the time anyone who want to do business with me, by the time they get to me, price is no object. By the time they get to me, they've been through so much. They've read my book. They've been to my training. They have talked to other people. They have done the research, just like you have done your research on me. They've done a lot, and I've put them through a lot of filter before they get to me. Then by the time they get to me, they're just glad that they get to me. And then which is now, instead start asking, oh, Dan, why you charge so much? It's more, well, Dan, how can we work together? How could I partner with you? How could we do a deal? And my whole life I've been, because I don't like cold calling and selling and all that stuff.
Dan, let's talk about delegation. Now, I know the minimum wage of a millionaire is around $524 an hour. So I always tell my listeners, what can you delegate for $524 an hour? Or what can you delegate that's within your current budget? How important it is for entrepreneurs and business owners to delegate tasks out that they're not currently good at so they can just focus on increasing their revenues in their businesses?
Yes, I always believe in a philosophy. Basically, you want to focus on what I call your brilliance. And some people would call that your gifts. I just focus on those type of things. Meaning, Arthur, I'm only good at very few things. Maybe 3 or 4 things. That's about it. And everything else, I like anything that I'm not good or I'm average, I delegate. Because it's like I always tell people, well, but then, you want to be your own man, and you want to mow the lawn, and you want to, wash your dishes, and do those things you're supposed to do that. I always tell people this, okay, I asked them one question. I said, do you believe you have a better chance of going to heaven if you spend your whole life doing shit that you don't like? Just think about it. Do you believe you have a better chance of going to heaven if you spend your whole life doing things that you don't like or you hate?
That's true.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So why would you do those things? Like to a point, I've got a handyman guy coming tomorrow to my home because I got a couple things I need to fix. I can't even change my fucking light bulb. I don't know how to do it. Like, people laugh. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what light bulb goes on there. I don't know what type or is it voltage. I don't even what term is to use. I just don't know, because I don't have those things in my brain. My brain is not focusing on that. So I'll just have other people do it. $25 an hour. He comes in and fix all these things. Great. Then I can do what I do, what I'm brilliant at, such as teaching, such as growing companies, such as marketing. And my whole life, all my hours, I spend almost all my hours all doing all those things and learning. Keep increasing, keep improving that high-income skills. Keep improving my scalable business. Keep learning so I can make better decisions on those high-return investments. That's my focus. That's all my focus.
Dan, explain to the listeners, what is the recipe for entrepreneurs and business owners to focus on working on their business versus working in their business?
Wow. I think I might say something also that might shock you.
I'm ready.
I think it's actually a dumb idea.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. When you meet somebody in a business networking function, you ask them what business you're in, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever asked anyone what business you're on?
That's true.
We don't even say it. It's like the idea of that people, want to work on. And I love Michael Gerber, don't get me wrong. I read the book many times, emails. I recommend the book to a lot of people. But I actually think it's a dumb idea. After what I've learned. Because if you think in terms of working on and working in and this and that, and you want to build your business in a way that you can walk away for 3 months or 6 months, right? That's what most people preach. So some of these guys preach. It's very simple. Again, going back, consider the source. Look at the Forbes 500. the 500 wealthiest people. That's anybody on that list. The richest people on the planet, the top 500. Does anybody walk away from their business for 3 or 6 months? Does Steve Jobs walk away from his business for 3 to 6 months? Does Warren Buffett walk away from his business for 3 to 6 months? Just think about it. Nobody does it.
Nobody does that.
And if they're the smartest entrepreneurs, most successful entrepreneurs do it. That's what they do. They're not working on the business. They're working in the business. Every single one of them. I challenge you. Nobody's working on. They're working in. Now, it doesn't mean they're working in, they're not working smart. Doesn't mean they're not building systems. Doesn't mean they don't build a world-class team. They do all of that. But they're not working on it. They're working in it. That's why it's a dumb idea. Nobody does it. It sounds good. It sounds logical. It sounds sexy. Doesn't work. I'm working in my business. I'm not working on it. I'm working in it. Now, does that mean I don't take vacations? No, I take vacations. I go away. I mean, in October, I'm going away for a month. I go to Japan, right? That's cool. I go to Florida. That's nice. I do that, but I'm working in. I'm in it. I learn it. I master it. I improve it. I think about it. I sleep about it. I breathe of my business. Every day you're thinking, how can I make it better? How can I add more value? How can I improve the experience? I'm not trying to walk away. You know why people want to work on? Because they don't like their business. They try to do something. They try to make money. They try to build something that they want to avoid. They want to avoid their clients. They want to avoid their customers. They feel this disdain. They feel this, I don't like to do this. I just want to make a little bit of money so I can walk away from it and work on it. Let some other people do it. No, I enjoy it. I enjoy working with my team. I enjoy going in there brainstorming. I enjoy growing things. I enjoy building things. That's what I do. I much prefer to do that than going to golf. I don't like golf. You look at every single one of those 500. They enjoy what they do.
That's true.
Every single one of them. And you talk to them, money is actually not a big motivator.
Freedom is the motivator.
And it's funny thing is when you have the freedom, you actually work more. We have the freedom, but actually work harder than most people.
Wow.
But again, the most people, losers, unsuccessful people, they want the freedom, but they think they want the freedom in advance. But versus us, we already have the freedom, but we love what we do, so we could not work, but what else would we do? We enjoy this the most.
Dan, I appreciate you coming on my show today because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners on a worldwide scale that they can actually build wealth and live a healthier life, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
Yes, that's it. That's what entrepreneur does. It's like we see something that, hey, you know what? I could do that better, or a need in the marketplace that's not being fulfilled, or you see something that you feel that's unfair, and you say, you know what? I'm going to do something about it, and that's true entrepreneurship.
Dan, I wrote down some powerful words, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, so you can rate them in your own influential way. Are you ready?
Yes.
Perseverance.
5.
Leverage.
5.
Building great relationships.
5.
Value.
5.
Money.
2.
Success.
2.
Wealth.
2.
Health.
5.
Financial capital.
1.
Family.
5.
All right, that was good. That was real good. Dan, now, I know a couple years ago, Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion. So video is hot right now. Can you explain to the listeners the power of video, and should entrepreneurs and business owners use video to expand their brand?
Yes, I mean now I'm quite. I mean, there's so many social media platforms out there. You know, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter,